a spring summer kind of girl. But the one thing I love about fall is that it forces you to wear the clothes where you can't tell that your face doesn't match your neck. That title sequence though. Ladies, gentlemen, select gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. So today I am serving you guys my very first story time video with the side of a very nude lip. As we all know, I am fresh back off the plane from the Lone Star State of Texas. A few weekends ago, Mac held the biggest event it has ever held in its entire history. It was the Mac Selena event, and they asked a few artists to turn in a submission to win a chance to work at the event. Now, I'm not saying that I won a spot, but... So yes, I was fortunate enough to be in Texas and work the Mac Selena event. I absolutely loved Texas, and I'm so glad that I got to go. I think Texas truly breeds like the nicest people on the planet. Like, I thought that everyone was gonna be super conservative, but they ended up being the nicest, most hospitable people. And the way that they take care of you out there, especially when they know that you're from a different state, like California and the Bay Area, is, let me not do that if that's not the right signage. Their hospitality is just seriously on point. En punta, puta. But there's always an exception. There's always an exception to the rule. And although Texas was filled with fun, nice, and caring people at every corner you turn, there's always gotta be one bad apple amongst all the good fruits on the farms in Texas. Because child, yes, as the title says, I got scammed in Texas. So let's jump right into this story time, shall we? Now, this story came into play literally on the night that I worked the Mac Selena event. And if you guys watched part 1 of my Mac Selena event, you guys saw frame by frame, moment by moment, exactly how that day went and my experience at that event. But what y'all didn't see was the shit show that happened afterwards. In the vlog, you guys saw that Mac actually let off early people who originally worked for California, because in California, our labor laws are just a little bit different than that of the ones in not California. So with all this extra time that we didn't have to be at work, we decided we just wanted to party. I mean, we were in Texas. We were in Corpus Christi. So we did attend the rest of the event, but just as guests with special passes so we could get to different areas, which now that I think about it, I wonder if I could have used my all-access pass to go backstage and meet Prince Royce so he could fall desperately in love with me and then, like, I don't know, like propose to me like on the spot maybe. I'm here with the Mac Selena event. Is Prince Royce back there? But when the event ended at around 12 a.m., we thought to ourselves, the night is still young, and so are we. And at the same token, we didn't have to be at work the next day, so we could just drink as much as we wanted to. So we all ended up coming to a consensus that the night was not going to end at the Selena event. We were gonna go around and make Corpus Christi, Texas our bitch. Little did we know at that time that Corpus was about to make us its bitch. So we decided we were gonna end our night at a club called Havana, which was only literally 5 seconds away from the hotel. So after freshening up at our hotel, we call a cab. And there was about 6 of us, but we thought if we get a van, we could probably like fit into one van because we really did not, as much as possible, want to have 2 fares. I mean, it might have been a free trip to Texas, but yeah, we on a budget. So the van comes around and we all pile in, acting like the van driver's not gonna care that I'm sitting on Miguel's lap. And he's like, you guys actually can't do that. I can't have you sitting on somebody's lap. And at that point, I was literally just gonna tell him, like, this is biological. We're actually joined by the ass and hip. I literally cannot move from this area. You will have to pry me off. You will have to get a surgeon in here to get me off of this lap. Nonetheless, Tom was not having it. And we're like, dang, it's only one extra person. Now that I think about it, I could have probably snuck in and had him not see me lay down, and I could have blended in perfectly. So one of our friends in our group, Oscar, he was like, you guys, it's cool. I called an extra cab and they're literally right behind us. So we're like, all right, we ain't tripping. We'll just get into another cab. It is literally not that big of a deal. Although we ain't trying to spend this money. So the only people that get out of the van is me and Miguel. So we're just like, all right, we're over it. Let's just get into the cab and let's get to this club and get drunk and be done with the rest of the night, or so we thought. So Miguel and I get into the cab, and then the van drives off, and then the cab drives off. And it takes us all the way to Havana. All the way. It was literally like 5 seconds away. It was probably like a $5 fare, but we still wasn't trying to pay it because we still on a budget. But it takes us to Havana, and it was like a $5 fare, so none of us were really tripping. Miguel paid it, and I was like, ooh, daddy, you got money. As we look around, we don't see any of our friends. And I'm like, oh, maybe they just went inside. And Miguel's like, I don't think they would have went inside without us. And I was like, I don't think you know our friends. So I go to the door and the window just to kind of peek through to see who's there, and lo and behold, I'm looking at the bar, and if our friends were anywhere, it would be the bar, and they were not there, absolutely. So we're like, oh, maybe they're just behind us, but we're like, lies you tell, because the van was in front of us and left ahead of us, so they should have been here way before we were. And so as I'm turning around, I see our cab driver backing up and stopping right where he dropped us off, and he's on the phone, and he's yelling out the window to me and Miguel, and he was like, hey, your friends are going to another club. Do you guys want to go to the club that they're at? And we're like, why wouldn't they hit us up? Like, why didn't they call us or text us to let us know that we were going to another club? At the time, we were just kind of like going with it. We were going with the flow. We didn't really care. We were just like, we just want to get drunk and we just want to party. So without asking any questions at all, we just got into the cab and we were like, yeah, follow them wherever they're going. I will follow him. Follow them wherever they may go. Don't do it though, it's foolish. Because my mindset was like, oh, you know, maybe somebody in our crew has been to Texas and knows this area well and knows of a really good club, like a poppin' ass club. In the cab, our driver is just like talking to, I guess, the other cab driver who's driving our friends. And he's like, yeah, this place is hell lit, they're gonna love it. So we're like being super gassed up. And I'm with it. If it's poppin' and it's cheap, and it's ladies' night, I am with it. Get me in, poop. And so we're in the cab, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, tonight's about to be lit. Like, we going to this lit-ass club. How far could this club really be? Like, the one that we just went to was only, like, $5 away. If this is, like, another $5, it's whatever. Miguel, you got it. I'm kind of balling right now, so I'm gonna get it. This next one. As we're going, I'm just kind of, like, looking at the meter, like, okay, cool. $2. All right, $3. $5. I'm still balling. I still kind of got this. And we're driving further and further, and the fare just keeps on rising and rising and rising. Like, it's hitting 5, and then it started hitting 10, and then when it kind of hit to 15, Miguel kind of like leaned over and he was like, blood, we're probably gonna have to split this fare. And I was like, oh, we for sure gonna have to split this fare. So when the fare reaches to about like 25, I'm just thinking to myself, like, where the hell are we going and where the hell are we being taken? And so then we decide to text the other group, like, where the F are we going? And then they're all just texting back, right? With exclamation marks. I'm like, what do you mean, right? Like, you guys don't know where we're going either? And then so we're just like, what the hell do we do? I guess we're just gonna have to get the fare, like, when we get there. But I'm thinking to myself, like, blood, don't be taking us nowhere that's like $50 away, because that's kind of a lot to pay, especially when I told you for the third time, we on a budget. So $32 later, we finally reached this club. And if you saw the faces on all of us getting out of our cabs, we were just so like dazed and confused and doe-eyed, like, what just happened? We were like, you guys, whose idea was this? And then they were like, it was our cab drivers. He told us, like, oh, don't go to Havana, go to this club. This is gonna be the best club that you ever go to. So we just agreed, and I was like, I literally think we just got played, because it hit me right in that moment. Like, duh, this is their business. Why would they want to just take us to a $5 fare club when they could get us in on like a $32 each club? Like, halfway across the city. And everything just started to click right at that moment. I was like, that's why they were like on the phone the whole time in cahoots. And they probably were talking amongst themselves like, yeah, bro, like, we about to get this money for both of us because we got 2 groups of friends, and they gonna do it because they don't know any better because they're from California. The worst part is that they saw our attire. Well, I mean, I was snatched because I always am. But we had like Miguel, who was in like a tank jeans and a hat. And then we had some other people who were wearing more casual clothes. And then we had also a girl who was wearing flip-flops. And obviously, like, this didn't click in our heads. Like, we can't get into any kind of club with like this kind of attire. So the cab drivers, mind you, have already driven off with our money, our dignity, and any common sense that we might have had. Like, we got so scammed by them that I could have sworn our cab driver would have turned around and he would have looked like this. And as they're driving off with said items, we're kind of like looking around thinking to ourselves like, for sure, three of us aren't getting in. And of course, no man left behind. Like, we're not going to make 3 other people like take a cab back home and we're going to go to the club. Like, we stick it together as a conglomerate. Is that even the right word? Mind you, there were 2 clubs, that's 4, that they dropped us off at, and they were connected to each other. And we thought, okay, maybe one of them will let us in. So we tried at each door, and at each door they were like, it's not happening. And then Miguel was like, I'm going to be so mad if they don't let you in for ladies' night because they catch you on being trans. And I was like, I wish somebody would try me. And mind you, these clubs are kind of like isolated, so there's nothing next to us but like a gas station. So we're all just kind of thinking to ourselves like, we're screwed. At this point, we were like, we're all kind of like accumulatively $60 down. And that was $60 we already didn't want to spend. Now we're trying to figure out like, now we got to do it again to go back because there's only one way back. So we had to try to finesse our way into somebody's cab. Oscar again calls another cab because at this point we were like, we just have to do it. Like, we just have to suck it up. And maybe we can give our receipts to our work so we can get reimbursed. But we're like, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't reimburse us for going out to the clubs. But then again, it wouldn't hurt to try. So Oscar is talking to this next cab driver and he's just telling her like our like situation. And he told us that she asked him like, who was your cab driver? And he told them their names. And she even knew. She was like, oh yeah, you guys for sure got played and I feel so bad. So she kind of had to hook it up with another cab because we still had to take 2 because we couldn't ride on a lap or hide. So then we were like, okay, what's the plan now? What's the movement? What are we gonna do? Because at this point we kind of just felt like, shit, there goes all of our drinking money. So we're like, okay, switch the gears. What we planned to do at this point, we were like, let's just go to the gas station, get some alcohol, and then just drink at the hotel and just have a good night in. At least we can be in our sweats and not have to be cute. And if we get too drunk, we're literally in our rooms, so it won't even matter. And so the next fail came around when we got to the gas station and we realized that Texas stopped serving alcohol at midnight. The Selena event ended at midnight. So by the time we were done at the Selena event, there was no way to get our hands on any kind of alcohol that we could have bought for ourselves that was not at a bar. So we were just like, shiitake mushrooms. What do we do now? We're literally in this gas station and I see that they have like buzz balls. Y'all remember buzz balls? They were like those little balls of like alcohol. And so I'm thinking to myself like, all right, everything else kind of failed, but I was like, if we really wanted to get drunk and really just like, you know, make this night as successful as possible, let's just get a few buzz balls, take them to the head, and then just call it a night. And so this guy comes up to us and he's like talking to us like he knows us because I guess he had seen us at the Selena event and he was like, yeah, like I saw you guys working the event, like that was hella cool that you guys got to do that. You guys are from California. And again, stupidly, we're like, yeah, we from the Bay. But what does that really mean in Texas? Because they be taking advantage of us out there. And he was like, y'all should come out to my club tonight because we're doing $2 Selena shots and X, Y, and Z. In my head, we have made multiple mistakes this night. So I'm thinking to myself like, nah, blood, I'm good. Like this buzzball idea I had, it's like pretty goof proof. I think that we good. And he's like, no, just come to my club. We're telling him like, yo, we just spent $60 on a cab fare. Mind you, the only people who went to this gas station was me, Miguel, our friend Oscar, and our friend Vicky. And the rest of our group went into the cab to go back to the hotel and they were gonna wait for us to come back. We still got friends that are waiting for us. And he was adamant. He was like, no, you guys should really come. It'll be really fun. Like, let us show you Texas. I'm like, the last person who told us that charged us $60 to take us to a club we couldn't even get into, boo. So we're like, no, we're good. I think we're just safe going back to the hotel. And he was like, no, like, it's cool. You guys don't even have to take a cab. Like, ride in my car. And I'm like, yo, I am from California. We don't trust our own shadow out in these streets. And everybody else is like, oh yeah, we could do that. And I'm looking to them like, do you guys not know what we just went through? Like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I'm like this far away from killing somebody, like right now. And if we end up making another mistake, like you guys are done. But majority rules, and majority ruled over my buzzball idea, and they all decided, like, let's just do it. Like, what else do we have to lose? I'm like, $60 more maybe? The guy walks us outside to his car, and oh my God, it was a beat down bucket car. Like, no shade to him and his car, no shade to people just trying to make it out in these streets. But for me personally, I'm like, you guys, I think we're gonna die tonight. And my girl Vicky turns to me and she's like, Carla, do not look at the floor. And I'm like, why? Is there guns? Are there bodies? And I look into the car and there is it is like littered with like bottles, cans, wrappers. And he's like, I'm sorry, I live in my car. And I'm like, oh, you guys, if we die in this car. And Oscar's like, if it comes down to it, like, I know how to fight. If he tries it, like, I will fight him. And I was like, okay. So he took us to his club. I think it was called the Grub Hub. And it was just kind of like a chill bar. And I was like, okay, we are actually at a bar and we didn't have to pay cover. Like, we're in. Like, this is legit. At least I think. There were a whole bunch of people just sitting around, and then they were playing some slap, and Bay Area was in the house. Not that that meant anything in Texas because we were not repping the Bay we were supposed to with our stupidity. But when the Bay Area is in the house and they in a club, the Bay Area is in the house. It was like, So then we were like, oh yeah, those $2 Selena shots. So we were taking those all night, and we started to get to know the bartender, and she was really, really cool. And she was one of like the first people who really showed us that Texas really does take care of people. And now that in hindsight, I'm thinking to myself like, oh my God, this stranger told us to get into his car and we got into it. In California, that does not happen because you end up in an alley somewhere wondering, how did I get here? It was just a testament to how Texas people like to just take care of other people, and they don't care if you're a stranger or not. They just want to take care of you and make sure that you're having a good time. So back to the bartender, she was chill. She started to stop charging us. She was like, you guys were at that Selena event? Oh my God, like, I wish I was able to go. And she's like feeding us all these shots. And then like out of nowhere, don't ask me how, I found myself on top of the bar. And because they knew we were the only ones turning up that whole bar, like the guy started to play all these Selena songs. So of course, like I'm out here like, hey, it's a movie out really quick. And then like he just kept playing Selena all night. And so we were like just kind of getting people to join us dancing. And so then we just literally turned that whole club up because we were like, this is what we came for. This is what we wanted. And $60 and no buzzballs later, we are gonna do what we came here to do. So that club is where we spent the rest of the night, and they really did show us that, you know, not everybody in Texas is terrible. Actually, nobody in Texas is terrible. There's only 2 people in Texas. They own a taxi service, and they are scammers, and they probably work with Joanne. But thank God for the bartender and the other guy, I really forget his name, for showing us such an amazing time in Texas and an amazing last night. Because that night at that bar was so much fun, and we were like, okay, cool. So it kind of just put my mind at ease. I was like, man, like the things I thought I could trust, I can't. And the things that I shouldn't have trusted, I did. And it actually turned out to be a pretty good experience. Mind you, at the end of it all, Miguel and I are walking back to my room, and one of the guys from the group who was in the other cab comes out, and he was like, where did you guys go? We were waiting for you guys. We had pizza. And we were like, did we forget to tell you that we went to a different bar? And I just felt bad because they literally bought like 3 boxes of pizza waiting for us to get back with the alcohol that we didn't have. But I was like, hey, if it means anything to anyone, I was about to buy y'all some buzzballs. But that's it. That was my time I got scammed in Texas. And it's okay because 2 beautiful angelic souls made up for it. And you know, when everybody's like, we're gonna laugh at this sometime down the road, I think now, 2 weeks later, would be that time. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you guys like it, don't forget, put a thumbs up on it. If you guys like the storytime video, or if you like story times altogether, let me know so we can keep doing them. So see you guys in my next video. Until then, don't forget to work hard. And in the case of Cassandra versus Corpus Christi's taxi cab service, slay smarter. Bye! I'm just putting some lotion on my hands, you know. This panai gets dry. Now in the video, why can't I say the word video? With it. And the only people that get out of the van is me and Miguel. Snot just came, just you know, charging out of my nose. All right. Oh man, I thought this sweater said San Francisco, but it says San Francisco. Sun. For the record though, I'm not tripping because this sweater was originally $40. I got it on sale for $20, but it rung up as $10. Holla for $1 for deals on the dime. High five. Just me? Okay. All right.